Welcome to Windows 10 Computer Basics. My name is Rick Kamara with Learnit. In this next series of videos, we're going to show you around Windows 10. Now this training is interactive, so after a lesson I'll have you pause the video, practice what you've learned, and then rejoin the video for more learning. If you're enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe. If you want to earn certificates and digital badges, please become a member of our Patreon. The link is on our video description. If you have any questions you want answered by one of our instructors, please join our off-site community. The link is in the description as well. As always, if this course has exercise files, you'll find them in the video description below. When you first boot up your computer and log into your Microsoft account, you'll see the desktop background. Now in my case, it's a blue gradient background with a Windows graphic on the right side. Also on my desktop, you're going to see desktop icons like my recycle bin, and I also have a OneDrive account readily available on there for things that I've stored on my cloud. The other things you'll visually see on the desktop are the Start menu, the lower left corner of my screen. You'll also see the Type Here to Search element, so you can just type in there to find anything you're looking for, be it files or folders or your favorite sports team. You can also look at other taskbar icons that are available to you on the taskbar that I would commonly use. And on the lower right corner of my screen, you're going to see the system icons, some which will be hidden in the background beyond the arrow. Expand and collapse arrows, you'll see them everywhere. Now, one of the things you can do from the desktop is right-click with your mouse on a blank area of the desktop, and then you'll see a New command, which provides you a list that you can use from some of the common applications you might work with, like Microsoft Word documents. So in choosing that one, I've got a brand new Word document started. All I need to do is give it a name. So I'll call it My Policies and Procedures. Let's try that again. I'm going to right-click on a blank area of the desktop, go to New, Microsoft Excel Worksheet. So I'm going to name this one My Annual Budget. What I can do now is right-click on another blank area of the desktop, going to the New command and choosing a new folder. So I have somewhere to store my new project. So I'm going to call this folder Current Projects. Now I just simply drag and drop my Word document into the Current Projects folder. I'll drag and drop my Excel workbook into the Current Projects folder, and then I can just select the folder and move it to a desired location on the desktop. Let's take a few moments, pause your video, practice what you've learned, and then return to join us for some more learning. The Start menu is located at the lower left corner of my screen. You can activate the Start menu by clicking on it with your mouse. You can also click on it again to deactivate the Start menu. Another way to activate it would be to hit the Windows key on your keyboard. It looks like the Start menu. And then you can hit the Windows key again to deactivate it. So let's activate the Start menu again and take a look at its elements. On the left side of the Start menu, towards the bottom, you'll see a folder list. It starts with like an image of me, which is my account, where you can get to your documents that are stored in My Documents, and you can get to your settings to change your printer settings or other settings you want on your computer, and you also have your power settings located in there. In the center of the Start menu, you're going to see an alphabetic list of all the programs that are on your computer. You can scroll through the list with your mouse. You can also scroll with the scroll bar to get down to the bottom or to get back up to the top. A much quicker way to get to elements on that list is at the top of my Start menu, you're going to see a pound symbol. If I click on the pound symbol, it's going to activate an alphanumeric list. On that list, I'm going to go to the W's, And that takes me down to the W's on that list. So it's a very simple way to scroll back and forth without having to use your mouse or the scroll box. I could just click on the W to get back to my list, and then maybe I want to look for, say, the E's for Microsoft Excel. Much easier way to navigate through your alphabetic list. Other things you're going to see on the right side of your start menu, you'll see large tiles, which is easier for people that are older like me to look at. So the idea of the tiles is you can keep your common programs that you use over there, and they're much larger to view. One way to get some elements over to that tiles is like, let's take a look. I'm currently looking under the E's for Excel. I'm going to right click on Microsoft Excel and I'm going to say pin it to start. So now on my tiles, towards the bottom of my tiles, you'll see Microsoft Excel has been placed down there. I'm going to click on Excel and drag that tile towards the top, just above the group called Life at a Glance. Just where I can get to the top so I can create a new group. And now I've created a new group up there. Move my Excel just where I like it. And I can name that group. I'm going to call it Office. So now I have a new group for the things that I commonly use. So I can easily go back to my alphabetic list and see if I want to go to Word. Add Microsoft Word up there. I'll click and drag Word up into my new Office group. And see if I can place things exactly where I need them. So once you put them in the groups, you can move them around and place them as you like. Another way is just to click and drag it right over. So what if I wanted to find PowerPoint? So I'll go to my alpha character list, look for PowerPoint, and I'll just click and drag right over to where it needs to go. So I've added 3 common elements to my Office group. I've got the particular elements that were already in there. So what if I want to modify those a little bit? I can. See, I'm not much into Groove Music. Maybe I could just go ahead and right click on Groove Music and unpin it from start. Maybe the same thing with some other elements on there. Maybe I don't want to do too much photoing at work, so I'll right click my photos and choose unpin from start. Then I could just reorganize some elements in here. I can even rename them if I feel like it needs another name. Call it My Life. Cool. And so we've got the folder list. We've got the alphabetic program list. And we have the tiles to the right side for easy access. So let's take a few minutes, practice what you've learned. So pause the video and then come back and join us when you're done for more learning. Now that we've seen the start menu, let's look at the taskbar. At the lower left corner of my screen, you'll see type here to search and also the Cortana icon, both elements of search in Windows. We'll be discussing those in more detail in later lessons, so I'm going to bypass those for now. What I want to have us do is look at the other icons, how we can add other icons onto the taskbar and remove those icons when we're done using them. Also, we'll be looking at, after launching multiple applications, how we can set those applications to be viewed on our desktop using the taskbar. So I'm going to start by adding some icons to the taskbar. I'm going to go down to my Windows menu, and I'll try over on the right side of my screen. I see OneNote. So on a OneNote tile, I'm going to right click on that OneNote tile, and I'm going to choose More and find Pin to the Taskbar. And there it is, OneNote's on my taskbar. So now once it's down there, I can click on OneNote and move it next to an application I want it to be side by side with. So another method of adding a program to the taskbar is I can go to my start menu where most of my programs are. I can find a program on my list and look for, say, Outlook, a program I use commonly. So I'm going to click Outlook, Actually, I'm gonna, yeah, I can click Outlook instead of right clicking and just drag it right down to the taskbar, and it'll have a tooltip that says I'm linking it. I'm gonna let go because I know it's going to link, and then I could take my Outlook and also place it on the taskbar next to the Internet Explorer. Sorry, Microsoft Edge. So now that we've put some icons down on the taskbar, I'm going to launch some of the programs. I'm going to open up Microsoft Word and Excel and OneNote. And I think I should even go on over to Start and find the calculator. And that'll work fine just for now. And I can just move this window just by grabbing the title bar of it. So now I'm going to talk just a minute about these command buttons over on the upper right hand side of my calculator. You'll see a minimize button. It looks like an underscore or a minus key. The middle button is a maximize button since it's in a restored position now. And the X is a close the window or close the application. So if I minimize my calculator, it's still displayed, but it's down on the taskbar and it's hidden so I can see the programs behind it. I'll click on the calculator to bring it right back. Now the middle center button is a maximize button now since it's not on full capacity of the window. So I'm going to click maximize, and now I've got my calculator in the maximized Windows position. If I bring it back down to restore, it's now a restore menu. So I'm going to click on the restore button on that control, and it'll bring it down to the last place it was and the last size that it was. So that's basic window minimize, restore, maximize, and close. So we have other windows open. So if I look down at my Word icon on the taskbar, I'm showing a peek. That's called Windows Peek. I can see that I've got Word open, and I can see that I've got OneNote, and I can just hover over the icons of the programs I'm working in. And so one of the things I can do is I can move over to the blank area of the taskbar and right click. And there I'll see some options in the middle of that menu that'll say, I'm going to cascade my windows. So I'm going to cascade the windows. And so now all my windows are cascaded. So if I click on Word, that'll be my focus. If I can just get to the other program without clicking on a command button, that'll be Excel. I can click in a blank area of the other level, which is the OneNote. And then right on the side, if I can click, and making sure not to click on an object that's going to activate something. So when you can move these after cascade. If I right click on a blank area, instead of cascade, I could choose, say, Windows side by side. So now my windows are trying to, tile themselves side by side. I'll right click on a blank area again, and I'll show the windows cascaded. I'll right click again and show them stacked. And I'll right click once again on the taskbar and show them side by side. If you close the windows, then take a moment and pause the video, practice what you learned, and come back and join us for some more learning. So we've covered the taskbar by looking at some of the applications that are on it, adding and removing and organizing apps. Now, I'm going to have us launch different applications from all the areas that we've learned about. We can launch an application from the desktop, if you'll remember, as we right-click on a blank area of the desktop and go to the New command, and we'll find a folder list. And in the folder list, we launched from one of these programs. Now, I've saved those in current projects, so I'm going to go to the current project folder. And as you can see, work has happened since then. So I'm going to open up or launch Memo from Rick, Microsoft Word. So that's going to launch the program, and I'm going to maximize my screen in the application and the file that I'm looking for. So now I'm going to launch from the Start menu. I'm going to go to the Start menu. I'm going to look for a program to launch from. I'll see Microsoft Excel. And when I launch Excel from the Start menu, it's just going to launch the program Excel. I'll maximize my screen. And then I'm going to go to one of the latest files that I've been in. And I'll go ahead and choose expenses. And there's an expense file that I have in there. So we've got some working files now, and we've got Word and Excel open. And now I'm going to go ahead and launch another one from the taskbar. So I'm going to launch OneNote. I'll maximize my screen. And so here was a OneNote I'm working on just to take a look at river cruise I might be interested in when I hit the lottery. So now the multiple ways to work in looking at different applications that you've opened. Looking at the taskbar itself, I can hover over Excel and I get what's called Windows Peek. Now I can see my Excel expense files. If I look at OneNote, I can see my river cruises. If I hover over Word, I can see my memo from Rick. So this is called Windows Peek. I'm just taking a peek and look at where I am and see which one I want to choose for my next task. So now if I want to activate it, I'll just click on it and it'll open it up in a maximize screen. Another way, since I'm in a maximize screen now, I could use a keyboard shortcut. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm not going to use OneNote. I'm going to right click on OneNote and close that window. So I'll right click on OneNote and close it. So now I basically have a couple of applications I'm using. I'm using Word and Excel. So I'm in Excel now. So if I just use a keyboard shortcut, Alt and Tab, I'm just going to Alt Tab. Takes me back to Word. I'll go Alt Tab. It takes me over to Excel. So I have those main two programs and I just Alt Tab my way in and out of them as I need to work on them. So maybe I need to take some information from Excel on expenses and add it to my memo to my boss. So I'll add and tab to the memo. So this is a great way working in multiple applications to share. So the other option is if I hold down my Alt key and just hold it down and then hit Tab. Well, as long as I'm holding Alt down, you can see all the applications I'm currently working in. So if I just want to go specifically to my Word document, I'll go to Word, and then I'll Alt Tab, holding my Alt key down. I'll tab over to Excel, or if I want to go to Current Projects folder, I can go there. So Alt Tab is one of your best keyboard shortcuts when you're a multitasker and you work in multiple programs at the same time. Hold down Alt, hit Tab. Find the program you're looking to get to. One of the other really great features that you have in Windows is Windows Snap. Now, since I'm commonly right now working in Word and Excel, which many of us do, I'm going to use the Windows Snap. So I'm going to click with my left mouse on the title bar of my Excel expense workbook. I'll click and hold my left mouse and I'm going to drag this window. And you can see it goes to like a restore size. I'm going to drag it over to the right side until it snaps. You can see there's a little visual that you get that looks like a square on the right half of my computer screen. So when I let go, it snaps that Excel program on the right half of my screen. So now I've got a couple of other options. I'm going to choose my Word memo, and that just comes up and fills in the other half automatically. So everything is great. I can click on my memo to make the memo out to somebody. I can go back into my Excel and activate my Excel file just by clicking in there. And so it makes it very simple and easy for us to multitask. Windows Snap. Now there's an element that still stays with the Windows menu. It's called Windows Shake. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Word with hold my left mouse down and just shake it a little bit. So everything else other than what I'm clicking on closes or minimizes, sorry. And so I'll just shake and it all comes back. Shake and it closes. Shake and it comes back. So it seems kind of crazy, but it's kind of fun actually. And when you have lots of windows open, that can be very helpful. So I'm going to close these applications and ask you to pause the video. Take a few moments and practice what you've learned, and then come rejoin us again for some more learning. Let's look at the search box in the lower left corner of my screen. The search box and the Cortana icon to the right side of the search box are the two ways in Windows 10 that you have to search for items on your computer or also on the web. So to type here to search box, I'll start with that one, and then we're going to click in there. Once you click in the type here to search box, you'll see a search panel come up. Now the search panel is very helpful in so many ways because you have tabs at the top that can direct you to recent searches and things you've done. So if I'm looking at these particular tabs at the top of the screen, like all apps and documents, I can use those. When I click into search again, you can see I'm in all, which is showing me the top applications that are getting used, what's recent on my computer, and quick searches that I might be interested in. If I go to apps, it'll say frequent apps or recent files. Documents will show recent documents. Web, if I want specifically to search on the web, I can use that tab. And then I can go to more. Let me give an example of some of the more areas here. I want to go back to the all tab and then choose weather for a quick search of the weather in my locale. So there it comes up, and then I can go to the more tab, and here I'll choose photos. Now I have some fancy photos of weather. It can be very interesting or scary. So I'm going back to the all tab, and now my cursor is still blinking in the box for type here to search. So I'm going to backspace and get rid of the weather. And I'm going to go ahead and type in something new. So I'm going to search for something on the web without having to go to the web tab or anything, just directly right here. So I'm going to search wind surfing in Southern California. Hit enter, and it finds windsurfing areas in Southern California, like Newport Harbor. All good stuff. So I'll close this search for the web, and now let's try another search. So I'm going to click here to type here to search, and then I'm going to go to type in a file that we put on the computer earlier, so you know this will be a valid search. I'm going to call it my annual. So I've typed in my annual, and I'm looking for my annual budget. I didn't have to type the whole thing. It found it fairly quickly and picked it up, and it's at the top of my best match. So I can hit enter, and that will open the Excel workbook with the file inside. There we are. So now here's a simple keyboard shortcut to close an active file that you have open or a program. It's Alt F4 on a regular keyboard. Now if you're using a laptop, you have to think about it on these newer laptops. So keyboard shortcuts like Alt F4 has been used for years, but when you get to a laptop, you might need to be using your FN key previous, because that gives you shortcut key shorts. So in the case of a laptop, you'd hold down the FN, so an FN, and then Alt, and then the F4 key, and that will close the program. FN, Alt, F4 function key. And that's the keyboard shortcut for the minute, and we're ready to go. So we searched for two things. We found a website for windsurfing, and we also found a Excel file on the computer. Now let's take a look at the Cortana search. I'm going to click on Cortana, and it shows a recent search that I've had in there, so it saves your recent ones. And I've got tuition for Stanford, so don't mind that. If you're looking to go, there's all your information. And so now I want to ask Cortana. At the very bottom of my Cortana box, I'll choose ask. I'll click where it says ask Cortana, and now I'm going to just type something in there. So I'm going to type in Buster Posey, and I'll hit that. And here comes up Buster Posey's full name, where he came from, how he got into baseball, everything that I possibly would need to know about Buster. Another way you can ask Cortana for information is to the right side of where I typed it in at the bottom of my frame. You'll see the Speak to Cortana. So now you can talk in there. I'm going to talk to San Francisco Giants. San Francisco, so I'll have to click again because it was listening to me talk. So I'm going to click San Francisco Giants. Simple search, simple words. So I've searched by typing to ask Cortana, and I can use my voice as long as we have a microphone handy on our computer. So I'll close Cortana, and that is two ways to search. You can use type here to search, or you can use the Cortana search feature. So take a moment, pause your screen, practice what you've learned, and then rejoin us for some more learning. Microsoft Edge is the internet browser that Microsoft installs on its Windows computers. Edge is replacing the Internet Explorer from past, and it's faster, it's more secure. It allows you to add extensions, and which are basically like mini programs that you can add to give you a better browsing experience. So let's look at this. On my taskbar, the lower portion of my screen, you'll see what looks like a circular wave, and that's Microsoft Edge. So let's explore inside there. Let's click on that circular wave and get right into it. Now you'll notice that Microsoft Bing is the search engine that Microsoft Edge is using. So let's go ahead and click in the search and find different ways. Now the first time you click, you can see if there's some elements to the right. There's search using your voice, and there's search using an image, and there's search where we are right now. It's just searching the web. If you just click on that, you can see you're just searching the web. So let's try that. Just search the web. I'm going to go and type in helicopters. And it gives just a description of what a helicopter is. Of course, it would take you to Wikipedia. Now, other things, you can see other searches. So you'll see the search box is moved to the upper portion of my screen. Now, if I want to go in and search using an image, I can click on an image, and there might be some previous images I've used or samples down below. So I'm going to look on this design sample and just drag this up to the page. And putting an image on there, it just takes me to a design page that's very similar to the one from the image. So you can put an image in there and maybe find out where it came from if you don't know where it was. So that's also, and then you also have the search using your voice in there. So when I close my window and I bring back up, I can go right back to an initial start. So I can actually just click right now on search using my voice. Hiller Aviation Museum. That came, of course, quickly because it was as a previous search easy. But you can use your voice, you can use images, or you can just click and type. Great ways to search, very much like we saw searching earlier from the taskbar. So let's take a look at other things you can do with Microsoft Edge. Up in the upper right corner, you're going to see what looks like a little ellipse, the 3 dots. So you'll see that up there. I'm going to give you a little square to look at. Now we go. So that's the ellipse we're looking at to get more information hiding behind. So let's go ahead and click on the ellipse and see the menu. Now in there, we're going to go down and look for something called extensions. These are the mini programs I talked about earlier. So let's select extensions. Now the extension I've heard of is something called Draw. So I'm going to get extensions for Microsoft Edge. And it'll bring previously loaded, or you could take a search to find one. I've heard of something called Draw on Page, so I'll type Draw, and then find Draw on Page. So I'll select that. It'll come up on my list. I'll choose to get it from the blue button, and I'll add the extension. You'll see very shortly in the upper right corner of my screen where you'll see Draw on Page. Just a little pencil up there. Okay, so now let's close all these windows. Just click the little X up there in the little tabs that I've added. And now what I want to do is I want to go to click Draw on Page. So maybe I just want to get an idea of what's going on too. I want to create a circle. So here's a little pen. And I'm going to make the brush a little bit smaller because when I first draw, it's going to be really thick. And so I'm going to change the size of this brush a little bit smaller, and so I can have a much thinner line when I want to circle something, or just get people's attention focused over there. So I want to erase it. I'll just go to the bottom of the tools. I'll clear all settings, or sorry, clear all drawings. There we go, and we're ready to go. Draw on Page, and that's an extension that we've added. So now let's take a look at adding something to favorites. So maybe that I've found the Hiller Aviation Museum, and I want to have it actually, I'm going to go ahead and close draw. And now I want to save this somewhere. I want to just keep the Hiller Aviation Museum on my favorites. So I'm going to go right into that site just by clicking on the link. And now I want to add it to, say, what it's called my favorites bar at the top. Right now I have my 365 and Zillow up there. So I'm going to go up to the stars above on this, basically on the address, to the right side of the address bar. I'll add this page to favorites. And I could put it on my favorites bar or different favorite locations I have. I'm going to keep it on the favorites bar and just choose done. So there it is, becomes readily available to me as I need it for later. If I want to remove it from the favorites bar, I can just simply right click on it and choose delete. And it's no longer cluttering up my favorites bar. As I'm done, I've been to the museum, I'm ready to go. So let's say I want to multitask a little bit. I'm working on Hiller Aviation Museum. I'll add another tab at the top by clicking the plus. And I could do a simple search on a new tab and not clutter up my other tab for Hiller. Now I'm going to look for something, maybe just something that's trending and I'm interested in right now, like the Dixie Fire map here in California. Everybody's really looking at that, so it's something I might want to peek out once in a while. So I've added some other tabs. You can have many tabs across and just navigate back and forth from tab to tab. Close tabs as necessary. And I could just keep them all closed. And totally close out of everything. So going back to Microsoft Edge, reopening it up. There are simple places in Edge you can look at it. The bottom portion of my Bing screen, you'll see a collapse and expand arrows that allow me to collapse information bar, and I'll expand it. I can expand it to where I can see the text and the images. And I can click on the expand and collapse button again and make it just text, so it's not taking up as much space on my screen. And then I can collapse it even further to see nothing at the bottom. If I decided to go to work on Microsoft Bing, it'll ask me which account I want to use. I can go back. If I wanted to go to particular images I might have seen, trending images will come up, or searching for images if you want to search in that specific category. Like maybe I want to search for dogs. And there's images of dogs. Or say I want to search for maps. And under maps I'll put in Mission Viejo. All kinds of easy places to begin searches in your search engine, and all elements of Microsoft Edge that you can use to add applications. You can add to your favorites bar. Makes your whole browsing experience much easier, quicker, and faster. So have fun with it. Take a few moments, pause your video, and come back and join us for more learning. Some of the applications that come previously installed with Windows 10 are applications like Solitaire, the game, the calendar, which can be synced with one of your calendars, weather, find out what the weather's like in your locale, Groove Music, settings, and calculator. So let's take a look at some of these apps that they provide. They're actually a lot of fun to play in. Now you noticed on my start menu, I took my life and rearranged that a little bit with some of those common apps like Solitaire and the calendar. So let's get in there. Let's click on Solitaire, America's favorite game, I'm guessing. So we have the Solitaire loading up here as a collection. And if you look at the upper left corner, I can go to where it says menu. Clicking on the menu, you see the 5 Solitaire games included in this application. Of course, Klondike, Spider, Freecell, Pyramid, and Tripeaks. Now, the main thing that I find really helpful is at the very bottom it says how to play. So if I want to how to play, which game I'm going to focus on, I'll focus on Klondike, and then there's the rules and how to play the game for Klondike. I can go back to the menu, and I could even look at just some game options to see if I want to change some sounds, turn some sounds on or off. And there you go. So one way, remember earlier I was talking about closing applications, you can Alt F4. So I'm going to use the FN Alt F4 because it's a laptop. FN Alt F4 to close the application. Now here's another keyboard shortcut that allows you to get back to where we were. Remember the start menu, just hit the start key on your keyboard and that'll open up start. And all I really need to do is type the other applications. So we looked at solitaire. Let's look at calendar. So I'm going to type in calendar. And when it gets close and it highlights it up at the left column at the top, I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter because I know it found the calendar. And there I have a calendar. This is the one that comes on my computer. Now there are options in here if you want to sync them to other calendars that you have. And you can look at all your appointments here. And also you can change it from the daily views to the weekly views to the monthly views, back to the daily views. I'll just go to today, and it already is on today, so it didn't move anywhere. Here we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and close this, Alt F4 or FN Alt F4 for laptops. I'll try again the Windows key. I'm going to type in calculator. And once I got it close enough and it highlights calculator on my best match, I'll just hit my enter key and then it'll open up my calculator. Now here's an interesting application. My calculator is the standard calculator right now. If I go up into my upper left corner of the calculator and click on the menu right next to the word standard, you can see that I can change it from a standard calculator to a scientific calculator. I can go back to the menu and change it to a graphing calculator. If I go back to the menu, I can also change that to a programmer calculator. And even more interesting, if you want to know the difference between some dates, I can go to that menu and go back to date calculation, and the formula is already placed in. So say I know I'm starting today, August 10th, and I want to figure out how many days it is before, say, my next birthday. So I'll go in there and I'll look for the next month. And there we go. So it's 2 months, a week and a day, or 74 days until my next birthday. Calculator has a lot of nice features in it. I really wish I had the scientific calculator when my son was in high school. I had to pay $90 for that calculator. Here it is for free, right in Windows 10. So there we go. I'm going to close my calculator. Alt F4, keyboard shortcut. Remember, just add the FN key when you're on a laptop. So another popular program that comes around in here would be, we see weather. So if I click on the weather, it's always nice. It's going to come up and bring up my local weather, just like the same thing you have on your phones. So currently it's kind of nice, not necessarily for walking, but everybody's different. Here we go. So I'm going to go into the weather on the left side of my screen. I can see it. This is my home weather. And if I go to the next icon below on the bar, I'm going to show maps. So basically it's going to put a radar observation map in the area, and you can zoom in on it to see how things are going. And I'll change this to a news about the weather. You can also give historical weather, or how the weather's been through time. And I could look at favorite places for weather. Maybe I want to check, add another place somewhere. I'll put in Mission Viejo. What's the weather like in Mission Viejo? A little bit warmer. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close my weather. Now I've used keyboard shortcuts, but I can also just click the X in the upper right corner of the screen. Another popular app that comes with Windows is Groove Music. And I don't have any Groove music in here because mine is coming from another application. But you can load music that you own in here. If you've got a CD player, you can copy music from there in here onto your hard drive. So Groove music, and we'll look at Get Help. All the things we talked about earlier are under Help. Let's see how easy it is to find them. Describe your problem. Maybe I want to modify mouse settings. Maybe it's moving too quickly. So now I know I can actually get there. So I can go to the Start button, go to the Control panel, and just type mouse in the settings. And there it goes. It takes me to that place in my settings. I can change my cursor speed. I can roll the mouse to scroll. How many lines to scroll each time. Just mouse modifications in general. I'm going to go ahead and close this. And there we have it. Get help. Another way sometimes to get help, if I just click with my left mouse on a blank area of the desktop, I'm going to hit my F1 function key. Again, FN, F1. And there is getting help in Windows 10. Just bringing up help or bringing up Bing. Click on the desktop, FN, F1 function key. Bringing help. Takes you right to how to get help in Windows. Might have been the last place I searched. So as you can see, there's lots of fun included applications that come with Windows 10. It takes some time. Play around in them, pause your video, go have some fun in Solitaire and Calendar and look at the calculator and make some changes, and then come back and rejoin us for some more learning. We'll see you in a few. So there's a lot of pre-installed applications when we looked in the Start menu and some others that we've installed ourselves, and now you can add more applications in the Microsoft Store to your computer. The idea is to find the ones that are free and you don't have to pay for them. But let's go to the store under the Windows Start menu. And we're going to go to Microsoft Store from my tiles. You can also find them under your applications list under the M for Microsoft. As it comes up, I'm going to select Gaming, which many people go in here for. And under Gaming, I'm going to scroll down and find the top free games. So I can choose Show All 99 Plus, so that gives me a much larger assortment to look through. And as I go down there, I see some kinds of games that may or may not work for me. I don't play a whole lot of them, so I'm going to just add, say, Snooker Golf. That's free. It tells me below the icon that it's free. And I'm going to get. When I click Get, it's going to load it to my computer. And at this point, I can just hit, you can see that it's loading. I'm going to hit my backspace key to see if during this time I can go back to where I was. So as I'm in the store, I'm installing the program already behind the scenes now, and I can just hit the backspace key again to get back to the beginning, to where I even go to the store at home. That's where I started. So now I should be able to look in the Microsoft Start menu. And I can see that something should have been loaded up there, and there it is. It's snooker golf. So I can select it. It'd be under the S's on my alphabetical list. And so there's the game loaded on my computer when I'm at break or lunch. And often you might not see an X close button, so I can FN Alt F4. Alt F4 closes that application. So there's other things you see in my start menu. I put, based on time, I select in start, I put another group called store down there, and just to save time, a couple of the applications that you can look at that I've installed there. One is laptop typing. The other is going to be WhatsApp app desktop, or WhatsApp desktop. That's getting to be popular these days with all the streaming and all the people talking to each other back and forth. Other tools. And now we have another game over here that previously was installed that was Homescapes. So a lot of stuff you can get from the store to have fun with or be productive with. And it's all at your own choices. So take a few minutes, visit the store, download some free apps that might interest you. Go to search and type in something that may work for you, like typing. Or there's actually one I found in there that doesn't sound, it's called the ear trumpet for people like myself who are hearing deficient. So have fun, pause your video, practice what you've learned, and then come back and join us for some more learning. Now let's visit the Action Center. On my computer, it's going to be at the lower right corner of my screen. It's the little notification square with like a little moon on it. All you need to do is click on that to get into your notification center. So basically that is the Action Center that has two pieces to it. Notifications at the top and frequently used settings at the bottom. So these are a combination of some settings that you use in other places on your computer, but more frequently used settings like looking at your network, or looking to project something on the computer, or looking to turn it on to airplane mode when you're on and off an airplane. So that's the bottom portion, and you'll see the top portion is where you have your notifications, frequent notifications that come up. Now let's go ahead and try some of those. I'm going to click in there, and now we'll see. Now I'm going to scroll a little bit so you can see there's a suggested. On the top, we just originally loaded snooker golf, and you saw Homescapes and laptop typing practice I previously installed. So notifications were left for those. So we basically don't need that. I can actually close these as I'm looking at them. Maybe I want to keep one. And then I can just say, I've looked at all these. This is all good. I'm just going to keep it clear so I can clear all notifications. And now they're cleared. Now, if I want to look at specific settings on my computer, frequent ones I would go to, let me just select my network, and I can see my network. I can see if my Wi-Fi is turned on or off manually or not. And I can go back. I can just hit escape to get back out of there. I'll go back to my Action Center. And back in the Action Center, let me look at airplane mode. So I put it on airplane mode, so that tells me airplane mode is turned on. I can again turn it off. If I wanted to use something like my battery saver, I would need to be able to do that. But right now I'm plugged in, so it doesn't matter. If I unplug, you can see that then I have used to use my battery saver. Different settings you can grab easily right there and readily available for you. So you want to check your network. You need to turn airplane mode on or off. You can just go into the Action Center and take care of it right then and there. It's always nice to just click on it, see if you have any new notifications that you might not have been peeking at your screen. You left the office and came back in, and it came up when you weren't looking. So in that, in a nutshell, is the Action Center. You can move the settings in the lower right bottom. Now notice I only have 3 rows of settings. I'm going to right click in a blank area down there. I'm going to choose edit. So now there actually are a couple of more settings you can add. I've taken some of mine off. So I can, once I right clicked in there and choose edit, now I can choose to add some of them. So I might want to add focus assist and add another thing called brightness and add a screen snip. That's always a good one for a screen snip. So I've added some more, and now I can just click on the pin and say done. And it turns those off. So now you can actually modify your frequently used settings in the Action Center. So take a few moments, pause your video, and then return back to us for some more learning. So you just got a brand new computer, and what's the first thing you want to do? Change the personalized settings. Of course, everybody likes to put on a different background, so you might want to put your grandkids on there, or you might want to have some sports that you're particularly interested in on the background. I'm going to right click on a blank area of my desktop background and go to where it says personalize at the bottom of the list. Now in here, I'm going to go through a list of backgrounds, colors, how to lock the screen, using themes, where you can add fonts onto your computer, and modifying the start menu and the taskbar. So starting with background, you can have, commonly what I have is a picture on my background, the blue gradient color with the Windows graphic. You can have solid colors, and you can pick which color, or even customize your colors. And when this comes up, it's very simply just a matter of picking a color and changing the lightness or the darkness of it. And you also, from solid colors, you can go into what's known as a slideshow. And with a slideshow, you can add something, say like I just browsed where I might have pictures somewhere on my computer, like on my desktop in the current projects folder. And there's a pictures folder in there that has 3 or 4 pictures in it. So I'm going to choose that folder. And now I'm going to adjust the time, change the picture every, say, 10 minutes or 1 minute, or how often you want it, maybe 30 minutes. And every 30 minutes, I leave it at the default. And, you know, if you want to run it while you're on battery power, it might use more power, so you can keep that off. And what this does is it just has, I have 3 images in there. It's just going to put those 3 images and display them every 30 minutes. They're going to change the image. And those are the choices for your background. So I'm going to go back to picture and keep what I had originally on there. If you want to just change the picture to something personal folder that or file that you have somewhere, you can do that. Then I'll minimize my screen so you can now see my background. Back to settings and changing back to Windows picture. So those are backgrounds. You'll also see in there how to choose a fit. Sometimes the picture images you bring in aren't as large as they need to be, so you want to maybe fit it onto the background. Or fill all the way. It depends on which one works best for you. Then we'll go to the colors. You can choose different colors. You want to make a light backgrounds or dark backgrounds. Transparency effects you can have on or off. Lots of different setting choices in here. Even custom. But make your life a little easy. Let's go right down to themes. And there's current themes. One of the cool themes, the Windows Light theme. If I could change this to Windows Light, there's a change of theme down below, and Windows Light's a new one. So now it's using the Windows Light theme. Very similar to the Windows background that I had before. And so themes are great. You can customize themes. You can see that themes have a background, a color, sounds, and mouse cursors. So you can go into each one of those elements and modify those themes. Particularly, they'll have Windows default sounds and Windows default mouse cursors. Well, let's take a look at fonts. Fonts is where you want to install other fonts that aren't loaded on your computer. You'll get a large list of available fonts down here. So sometimes you need particular fonts Then we'll go to the Start button for personalization. In here, under Start, we have some of the elements of Show More Tiles on Start. I have that off because I have enough tiles up there already. Show the app list, which is there. The recently added apps just shows in there. I don't necessarily need the most used ones. So this is just modifications for your Start menu. And last we have the taskbar. So on the taskbar, mine's been displayed a lot of the time, but you can automatically hide it in desktop mode. So I'll click that option so you see that it hides, and I can move my mouse pointer down below and bring it back up. So when I close this, it's turned on now. In desktop mode, it hides it. And it brings it back when I move my mouse when I need it. So that's under right-click a blank area of the desktop, go to Personalize, and play around through a lot of these elements. Just go to, change your background colors to pictures. Take a look at lock screen. This is a particular area that you may be looking for just for security purpose. When you're back at work, you can click on lock screen to modify that. So mine has a different picture to tell me that it's locked. It's always nice to have a different picture than the one you normally have on your desktop background. So this is your lock screen background picture. And then you can have certain apps that show, like my calendar, it's going to show my date on my lock screen. So I'm going to close this. And an easy way to turn your lock screen on with a keyboard shortcut is Control-Alt-Delete. Control-Alt-Delete, and you'll see an opportunity to select lock with your mouse. Now there's my lock screen, and I'll need my code to get back in. So you'll see my dates on there. Now if I want to go back into my computer, if I've walked away to use the restroom or go to cafeteria for lunch, I can just click on my screen when I come back and put in my code, and I'm ready to go. So very important to know lock screen. So take a few moments, practice what you've learned about personalizing your desktop, and come back and join us for some more learning. Again, pause the screen, practice, and come back and join us for more learning. There's an amazing tool that comes with Windows 10. It's called the Magnifier. I love this tool because there's many times that you try to zoom in on things with other zoom tools within the applications, and they don't let you zoom in on things such as like a toolbar or something. So let's find the Windows Magnifier application. I'm going to go down to my Start menu, or just click here to type search. I'm going to go in from the search menu. I'm going to type in Magnifier, and as I start typing, it comes up at best match. So I'm going to open up the Magnifier. Now this is what it is. It's just a tiny little application that allows you to magnify anywhere on your screen. I'm going to close it and show you another way to bring it up. A very simple way to bring this up is just use the window key on the keyboard and the plus if you have a numbers pad on the right side of your keyboard, just Windows plus. Otherwise, you'd have to use Windows Shift and the plus key on the top number set. Say you're on a laptop for the keyboard shortcut. So it's Windows plus, however that works for you. Now, when you get the magnifier turned on, I can start magnifying my screen. And mine is set at 50% intervals, and I'll show you how to go to settings to modify yours. And as you keep clicking, you're going to maybe want to you're going to pan. Once I zoom, now I'm going to pan. I'm going to use my mouse and just pan over to the side of the screen or down towards the bottom to zoom in on things at a larger visual until I get all the way down to where I'm looking at my taskbar now. So I want to get back to where I was. I'm going to use a keyboard shortcut, Windows key and the minus. Windows minus and Windows plus are keyboard shortcuts for zooming in and zooming out. So Windows minus zooms back out. Windows plus zooms in. And you can use your mouse to pan over to the other elements on the screen since they're larger. And I'm going to Windows minus to get my screen back down to visually see everything. And at this point, I can go to settings. I'm going to go to the settings on the the magnifier bar. And in settings, it'll say go to settings. So I'm going to go to settings. And in there, I'm going to change the percentage. Now here's my zoom level. It's going to begin at 100%, but I'm going to change the increments. I'm going to change my increments back. Maybe I want them to be back to 100%, which is the normal default. So I'll go ahead and close my settings. And now when I zoom in, 100%, see how much larger the increments are zooming in. Yeah, I can use my keyboard, Windows plus, Windows minus. Hover with my mouse. Once I zoom in more, I can just hover and find those icons I'm looking for, or get a better visual. So I'm going to go ahead and Window minus all the way down to the bottom. Close my magnifier. I could also use Alt F4 like I've been using before. Anytime you want to bring it back, Windows plus. And if you want to close the magnifier, Windows escape. Windows plus to bring it up. And Windows escape to close it. A very nice tool, often needed in other programs. Let me give you one example. I'll bring up Microsoft Word. Open up a blank document. And I want to basically zoom in on something, so I'll Windows plus. Here comes the application. I can zoom in. And now I can zoom in on areas not normally that I could zoom in from normal windows. You can use the tabs at the top or any toolbars you can see you want to get closer in. So I'm going to Windows minus to get back down. Close the app with Windows escape. And close Word with Alt F4. Alt F4. So that's the magnifier that comes with Windows 10. Take some time, pause your video, practice using the magnifier, then come back and join us for some more learning. One of the best features of the Windows 10 operating system is its file management, the ability to organize your documents with File Explorer. Let's take a look. On the bottom of my screen, you'll see File Explorer, which looks like a folder icon inside of a little inbox. And so now we're going to go in and take a peek at that. Let's click on File Explorer. When you hover over it, it generally will tell you that's what it is. And so mine comes up in a smaller screen. So many of ours have larger expand and collapse arrows, but what I'm seeing here, if I hover right over Quick Access, there's a tiny little arrow. I'm going to click on that little arrow. So here it is. Quick Access. So basically these are expand and collapse arrows that come. You want to expand and collapse with those. So I'm going to go ahead, and if I click on that, it'll collapse Quick Access. If I expand, it'll come back. So if you look at the Quick Access, it has things like, what are the elements on my desktop? So on the desktop, we earlier saw current projects we worked in. And so that's on the desktop. So if I click desktop in here, I'm visually seeing what's on my desktop that I can use. So these, I have a OneDrive shortcut in my current projects folder. So also if I go to documents here, I'm looking at the documents from my PC. So down below, I can collapse my desktop or expand my desktop. And these little expand and collapse arrows, it allows you to see where you need to go. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this current projects folder. So if I go back up to the top and look for the desktop, and so I want to just take this, now that I'm physically in the address bar above, looking at from this PC, this desktop, you can get very confused in here, because if you just click on the expand and collapse arrows and you're only looking at two folder areas, I'm just going to click on the desktop and you'll see a much different view of the desktop. So what's going on here is I'll expand my desktop and I'll expand my Quick Access. Under this desktop folder are many other folders. My personal OneDrive, my business OneDrive, and you have Rick Kamara stuff in here. The stuff on this PC is mostly what's going into quick access. So I'm going to collapse quick access. Actually, I'm going to expand it and go to my desktop, and then I'm going to collapse it. So I can just collapse these things to get practice. I'll collapse the desktop arrow, and now I'm going to go down under expand and collapse this PC. Let's take a look at that, and now I'm going to say, well, what I'm going to do is I want to move this folder over to this PC because I want to have a permanent place for it for a while instead of being on my desktop. Even though it's current projects, I'm going to move it in there. So I'm going to click on the folder. I can see in the address bar that it's this PC. So I'm going to click on the current projects folder, hold down my left mouse, and just drag it over to where it says this PC, down to documents. In there, it will automatically, while I'm holding it down there, expand the documents folder, and I can let go. And it moved that folder from my desktop to my documents folder on this PC, where most of my things are stored. So when I click documents, I'll look over on the right side inside of that folder. I'll see what exists inside the folder. And there's my current projects. I can just double click on current projects and open that up and see folders and files that are inside of that. So folders are storage locations, and they also can store folders as well as applications and files. So I'm going to collapse documents. I'm going to collapse this PC, collapse the desktop, and just get a little more practice. And there's quick access for things I usually want to use. I can just expand my quick access, expand my desktop, and keep it cleaner this way. So think about it as like a file management system, and basically all you're doing is you're opening a file drawer and putting a file inside of a folder and putting a folder inside of a hanging folder and closing the drawer. Very much like a regular file management with hard copies, it works that way the same in the File Explorer. I'm going to close current projects. Now take some time, create some files and organize them. You put some products that you've created in Word or Excel or some other folder and move them around in your File Explorer. So pause your screen, practice what you've learned, and then rejoin us for some more learning. So I'm going to talk about Microsoft OneDrive now. Microsoft OneDrive is the cloud storage for digital data that Microsoft uses. And it basically stores things on the internet. So we used to store a lot of things on a hard drive, floppy drives, or CDs. So now you look on Facebook and you'll see things like images and movies, and you go to Pandora or Google Music for sounds and music, and all these things are stored on the cloud and basically on large server farms that store all that stuff that we can get to. So when you buy a computer, Microsoft asks you to create an account. Now you can create a personal account. Basically it's a personal account. You log in with your email and password and it gives you a Microsoft account. And when you do that, it actually adds a OneDrive to your computer. Like when I go into my File Explorer, I created a personal account and my OneDrive is loaded right there. And then the other type of account it has an online Office 365 account. And that shows up after you sign in with that down here. So I've got the OneDrive there and I've got the personal account here, the OneDrive. So I'm going to go to my Start button and show you a little more about the account. So I'm going to go to Start, go up to my account, and then change account settings so you can see what I've done in here. So I have 3 accounts. Now the email and accounts that I'm clicking here, with the email and accounts, I have my personal account, my wife's Office Online 365 account, and my Office Online 365 account. So those are the 2 accounts I'll be using to go back and forth when sharing. Okay, so the 2 basic accounts. Now when the Office 365 accounts are loaded, you can go to your Start menu, and you'll see under my tiles I've added the Office icon there, but you can also go into the listing under the O's and find out that it is stored here. So when you click on that, that brings up your Office 365. So it's a nice little panel that allows you to go in there and you can see that you're at your home screen. So I can see all the previous things I've been working on, and I can go to my Word online account. I can go to Excel. I can go to PowerPoint, Outlook, and my Outlook would be showing down on the screen. I could just click on it down on my taskbar, and that would bring up my Outlook as it comes up. So there you go. And now I have OneNote, Teams, Yammer, and administration, and then access. So all these things available to me readily, and I can get to my online stuff and share it with other people. So let's look at that sharing process. I'm going to go to my home, and then something that's already been previously shared, something I typed in called home locations and average prices I wanted to share with my wife. So I'm going to go ahead and open up that now. It's already been shared, and I will go through the process of sharing something as well. So this is an Excel file that I previously shared with my wife. And now I'm going to open it up on her side. So now we're working in real time. So you can see that she typed in Los Angeles, and now I'm typing in prices around there. So maybe I'm thinking 850,000. And there we go. So she's working on the document, and I'm working on the document. It's all real time, and you can see who's placing the elements in there as we go. So I'm going to close this file, and I'm going to open up another one to start a new sharing process. So I'm closing Excel, and I'm going to go to, say, PowerPoint. I'll create a brand new blank presentation. So here we go. Names for a new baby by Rick. So now I'm going to share this. So I'm going to go to the upper right corner of my screen. Since I've done this in Office 365, I'm going to share. And I'm going to add the name. Joanne will come up. And underneath the second name, I'm going to make sure that I'm not trying to add another name. So I click below the line. And I'm going to type in add names. So I'll send this out. Now my wife is going into her Office 365 and going to the email. So when it gets sent over, you answer the email. When you open up the email, that's when the sharing starts. So when she opens up her email and looks for the file that I sent her and says open, then we'll both be sharing the document. Name is for new baby. So I'll make a new slide. And click to add text, and I'll just put some names in here. So how about if we do it for Johnny, if it's going to be a boy, Harold, Alex, And so there's some suggestions that I put in. Let's see what my wife adds. Now you can see that she's getting more into some of the girls' names. So we're working interactively in the same document in real time, and that's one of the big advantages. So like if you were doing a meeting minutes or some other thing working together as a team, it's much quicker and easier. So we've shared files that are already existing, and we've created a new presentation and shared that file real time and online. It makes it so much easier to work instead of having to send someone an email with an attachment and all that work. So here we go, and that's basically that's file sharing and on Office 365. So take a few minutes, practice what you've learned, and come back and join us for some more learning. So we've used keyboard shortcuts throughout the lessons. I want to show you where they all are for Windows 10. I'm going to click Type here to search keyboard shortcuts for Windows 10. And now I'll take a, so there's Word 2016 because I have a file like that, but also I'm going to go down and say keyboard shortcuts where it says work and web. I'm going to keyboard shortcuts for Windows 10 at the very bottom of my list. So I'll click on that, and up comes a search for keyboard shortcuts for Windows 10. Now I can scroll down a little bit and say list all Windows 10 keyboard shortcuts right there. I could just list them. I can even go down to the Microsoft one. Let's just click on theirs. And in theirs, through the source, I'm going to go where it says see all Windows 10 keyboard shortcuts just from the source. And here they are. So you just kind of click around a little bit and you'll find the right one. There are many of them, but as we look through this one, it has expand and collapse buttons. And you'll notice on, say, the first expand button, common ones, cut, copy, and paste, you'll see in there for all the actions you might do in your Microsoft applications like Word or Excel or PowerPoint. And so cut, copy, and paste, Control X to cut, Control C to copy, and Control V to paste. And you'll also see some of the logo keys. Now I'm going to collapse this expand and collapse button and go to the logo keyboard shortcuts. These are great ones. If you can go in here, you can actually see open or close start. Like if we hit the Windows key, it opens and closes the start button. So if I want the Windows key to look at my desktop, I can do Windows D for desktop, or Windows D to bring that back. So lots of different windows in there. There's a little button to the lower right corner of my taskbar. I can just hover over that to do the same thing, but the Windows key is much more helpful. So some of the others you'll see in here. So if you wanted to do something like Open File Explorer, Windows E, and there's your files. Easy, simple. Once you learn a few of these, try them 3 times and you'll remember them forever. And your computing will go quickly. Much quicker when you're using the keyboard. So that's how you find all the keyboard shortcuts. And if you'd like and print them out, you can. But for now, I'm just going to close the windows and have you stop the lesson, pause the lesson, practice what you've learned, find some common keyboard shortcuts that you would use and write them down or print the article out, and come back and join us for some more learning. Sometimes with an operating system, things get a little clogged up and cause some problems. So you want to run a little troubleshooting to take care of that business. And so you get to your troubleshooting, your recommended troubleshooting, you'll go to the Start button and find Settings in the folder list to the left. When Settings comes up, you go to Update and Security. Update and Security. Now in there, you'll see on the left panel, about halfway down, the troubleshooting that's recommended. So with the recommended troubleshooting, you'll have an option to choose Ask Me Before Running Troubleshooters, and that's my default right now. So if you want to have it, run automatically and don't notify you and just let it work behind the scenes, that's cool. If you want to have it run Troubleshooter automatically and then have it notify you or ask you before it runs, I like the idea of having it ask me before it runs. And or don't run any troubleshooters. Your computer is perfect. So there's the troubleshooting, and basically often the three characteristics of it would be that if you run the troubleshooter, it's going to fix and take care of the problem, or it'll fix and give you suggestions what to do, or it won't fix it. So that doesn't necessarily always fix all ends, but it's a great place to try. So I'll close the settings, and I'll have us pause the video, practice what you learned, and then you can close because this is the last lesson. I'd like to thank you for spending this time with me to explore Windows 10 computer basics. So go ahead and finish setting up personalizing your Windows desktop, start menu, and taskbar. Get your files organized on the computer or in the cloud, and practice your keyboard shortcuts. When you're ready, come back and join us at Learnit for some more learning.